Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling them wrong. You got me like, oh yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling them wrong. Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling them wrong. You got me like, oh yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling them wrong. Hey, oh yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling them wrong. You got me like, oh yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling them wrong.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cousins of all ages. I was just asking, why is it not working? Well, I think we've actually got things popping off on YouTube tonight and all of our other channels. So, yeah, I think we got it going. How come I get my live chat going? Where's my live chat? I don't know where my live chat is. We got to get this chat going. I don't know. Maybe we just don't got anybody in there. How about that? How about that? No, we got it. They're showing up. They're showing up. Awesome. All right. So I know that this is not usually the day that I do a show. Hello, Renee. It's not usually the day I do a show, but I got some time, and I said, you know what? I want to pop this off. So we are on X. We're on Goyim. We're on Odyssey. I think we're being also simulcast on BitChute. We're on Rumble. So we are here, baby. We are rocking it out. It says we're live on X. There it is, baby. There it is. So it looks like we are cooking with gas. I'll be watching the chat over at YouTube. So we're back. If you notice that it's now called The Real Gospel Truth. And the reason why is because the word gospel is a Greek word. It predates Christianity by many, many years, hundreds, thousands of years, probably, thousands of years. And it always meant victory, a message of victory, a message of victory. Thank you, Her Majesty. A message of victory, heathen victory, pagan victory. And the Christians stole our word and have morphed it through their control of the media so that everybody now equates it with the message of the Jesus character. So that's, of course, nonsense. We're taking it back, baby. We're taking back the gospel, and the real gospel truth is the truth of the pagan and Aryan ways that bring divinity, sovereignty, and freedom to all of mankind. So, Let's get ready to rock and roll. Let's get into this tonight. Dazed, Confused, MK-ULTA'd, Austin, Texas, Jack the Ripper, and MK-ULTRA in today's media cabal, believe it or not. I don't know why I can't get these titles right. I'm through Restream, through OBS. I change them. Maybe I got to change them a couple different places, but don't worry about it. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a share. Subscribe to the channel. Thanks to the 50,000 plus of you that stayed subscribed for almost 5 years while I was kicked off. But go ahead and, again, like, share, let people know that we're back. So let's get into this. Dazed, Confused, and MK-ULTA'd. I'm coming out of the name of the movie Dazed and Confused, and I can't remember who it was, but somebody from the show last night said, hey, you should look at Dazed and Confused, also by Richard Linklater. I did, and boom, here we are. So let's go ahead and jump into this. It's going to be a good one, I promise you. So it's all about the media and their MK-ULTRA control over people. And Dazed and Confused came out in 1993. I want to try to show you that the big things are the little things are the big things are the little things. Dazed and Confused came out in 1993. Hello, Venus Latte. Yeah, it's been a long time, baby. But Dazed and Confused came out in 1993. 1 plus 9 plus 9 plus 3 equals 22. In numerology, 22 is a double 11. 11, the number 11, holds a great and significant spiritual as well as biblical connotations. As a double, they are even greater. Biblically, the 11 symbolizes imperfection, chaos, and disarray. Think of that. Biblically, 11 means imperfection, chaos, and disarray. Now, contrasting that in numerology, 11 is a beacon of higher ideals, creativity, balance, refinement, fulfillment, and visionary thinking. And what this points out to us, for those with eyes to see and ears to hear, this points out the existential struggle of humanity. They're trying to drive us into an MK-ULTRA induced anxiety, fear, we don't care anymore, it's hopeless. And then they trot out Christianity as the panacea, the way to save yourself, when the fact of the matter is you don't need saving. So the existential struggle of humanity is either succumb to the Bible matrix and be assimilated, or stand and fight for your divinity, your sovereignty, and your freedom. I advocate the latter. It's time for you to stand. It's time for you to fight. It's time for you to realize who and what you are. It's time to quit feeling beat down. It's time to quit belly aching and whining. And it's time to get up and do something, Burn One Bob. It's time to get up and do something. Now, Dazed and Confused is a coming-of-age comedy film written and directed by our old friend from the last couple of days, Richard Linklater, known for making films that deal with suburban culture and the effects of the passage of time. In 2015, he was included on the annual Time Magazine 100 list of the most influential people in the world. Unbelievable. Good. I'm glad it's showing up on Goyam. Notice his name, Richard Linklater. That is another one of those little things. What that's saying is, oh, you dicks might link this later. Or you bunch of dicks will never link this later. They're making fun of us, and they do it constantly through the media. Constantly through the media. I promise over the next couple of days I'm working. I'll get out the emails. I'll let everybody know we're here. Because I know that there's more people that would love to be back. So we just got to let them know that we're back. So help me out in that regard if you can. Now, few realize this, but the first serial killer in Texas began his rampage in the city of Austin. Why is that important? Again, someone in the show last night said if you're from Austin, you know who Linklater is. Linklater is kind of a guru down in Austin of all the the up-and-comers down there. And he made this movie in Austin, and there's just some amazing stuff I've got to tell you about this, and you'll begin to see how MK-Ultra does these things to us. Several women were terrorized in Austin, Texas during the 1880s. Notice the H. You're going to see that, and you're going to wonder, what's he doing? And I'll show you in a minute. The serial crimes that we are looking at began in 1884, and the spree lasted a year. In total, 7 women and 1 man, which is another 8, were killed. It's reported that the Austin police didn't know what to do, tried many ways to find and collect evidence at the scenes of the crimes. The first 5 women killed were black. However, 2 quote-unquote white women were the last victims. It is also wondered if the killer was picking women that he deemed sinful for living with men out of wedlock. Most of the women worked as servants, thus the suspected serial killer first became known as a servant girl annihilator, and then later as the Midnight Assassin. After my research, it's my assertion that all 7 of the women actually presented as black. The 2 might have been white or called white by the police, but if you were to look at them, you would think that they were black people, so for what it's worth. But this servant girl annihilator, also known as the Midnight Assassin, unidentified American serial killer, never caught, preyed upon the city of Austin in 1884, 1885, notice the 8s, and their sobriquet, or the nickname, was originated by the writer O. Henry. And O. Henry, interesting person, he became a licensed pharmacist at age 19. Now, we all know that pharmacopoeia and pharmacy is intricately linked with MK-Ultra and with mind control. And in March 1882, he settled in Austin, worked for the Texas General Land Office, worked for the government. We know about the government in MK-Ultra. He later worked for the First National Bank of Austin. We know about the banking cabal involved with MK-Ultra. And then, you can't make this stuff up. Truth really is stranger than fiction, folks. He started a magazine called The Rolling Stone in Austin. Now, of course, the other Rolling Stone was founded in San Francisco, which is the acknowledged MK-Ultra capital of at least the United States, Tavistock over in England. But Rolling Stone, founded in San Francisco, it's supposed to direct you back and forth so you put these things together. And, of course, Rolling Stone, the San Francisco one, was first known for its coverage of rock music and political reporting by Hunter S. Thompson. We all know way back in the day, maybe some of you remember, we did a lot of deprogramming around music and MK-Ultra. We talked about Elvis. We talked about the Beatles, right? Yeah? So Rolling Stone, music, political reporting by Hunter S. Thompson. Are you kidding me? Hunter S. Thompson, known for Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, which was all about altered states and psychedelics and MK-Ultra programming. And Thompson was known for exposing 60s counterculture. But in the 1990s, there's 2 9s minus a 1 in front. We got 8s again. The magazine broadened and shifted its focus to younger readership, interested in youth-oriented television shows and movies like Dazed and Confused. Popular music, it's since returned, I'm told, never read it, to its traditional music, entertainment, and politics. Johnny Depp, of course, in that movie. So this was a series of axe murders. You've got the I can't think of the word right now where it's the cliche axe murderer. This was the first axe murderer publicized widely in the United States. He committed 8 axe murders. And the December 26, which is another 1885 issue of the New York Times reported that the murders were committed by a cunning madman. The murders took place 3 years before the Jack the Ripper murders. File that away in your thinking cap. And according to author Philip Slugden in The Complete History of Jack the Ripper, there was conjecture that the Texas killer and Jack the Ripper were one and the same man. An editor at the Atlanta Constitution suggested the idea following the murders of Elizabeth Stride and Catherine Eddowes by Jack the Ripper. And according to the magazine Texas Monthly, the killer murdered 7 women. We're back to the Midnight Assassin. I speculate that all the victims, the 2 white ones, looked like they were of mixed race. They appeared black. So he killed black people. That's who he was aiming for. Is there something there or not? I don't know. I just report the news. I'm not here to tell you what to think. I'm here to just try to get you to think. And I'd love for somebody to give this some likes and some shares so we can be moved up organically in the algorithms. It just takes a second to click on that thumbs up. Just click that little thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell. Tell somebody about us. Now, Jeff, why you keep pointing out these 8s? It's important. If you're seeing the number 8 frequently, you might be on to something significant. And we're seeing the number 8. Now, we got to be really careful in our chat, folks. We're going to be very careful. We're going to play it very squeaky clean. And we're not going to say any words or use any words that YouTube doesn't like, because I don't want to be kicked off this time. So please don't take it as offense if I take your chat out. We're not going to. We're just not going to use any of the buzzwords or anything, because we're going to use YouTube the way it's meant to be used, as a PG-13-ish platform with tremendous reach. Og66 says, of course, this is named after that Led Zeppelin song. They fortify the paradigm. They put subject us to really strong. Is Dazed and Confused a Led Zeppelin song? I didn't know that, but very interesting. But if you're seeing the number 8 a lot, you might be on to something, because numbers often carry profound spiritual meanings, and the number 8 is especially powerful. The number 8 resonates with universal truths. The number 8 is unique both in form and function. Mathematically, it's an even, balanced number. Symbolically, it's indefinitely looping, resembling the infinity symbol, exactly like the infinity symbol on its side, a shape with no beginning or end. The shape itself is a powerful metaphor for the number's spiritual significance. Thank you, Burn One Bob. I appreciate it. The shape of the 8 looping back on itself symbolizes endless cycles: birth, death, rebirth, constant flow. And of course, the MK-Ultra world wants you to not think that you can grow and develop, spend some time in Valhalla, get yourself together and come back a better person. They want you to think that it's pie in the sky after you die, and they don't want you to have any care of what goes on while you're still around down here on the ground. That's Christianity. But the real gospel truth is that we're here to learn, to understand, to discern that, we come back again, and we take authority and responsibility of our own lives and say, I'm going to get better. And next time I come back, I'm going to be better, stronger, faster, just like Steve Austin, the Bionic Man. I'm going to be better. Christianity says, you're not coming back. But they tell you in Romans, is it chapter 10, verse 8, or chapter 8, verse 10? But you can look it up. They say that, Jeff, we're going to be raised and we're going to be in heaven. No, read it. You didn't read your contract. Your contract says that only your mortal body will be raised. That's the part of you that is subject to death. Your mortal body gets raised, so you go through this shit show again, and then they keep bringing you back again and again and again and again and again until there's not enough of you to bring back, and you just kind of fade away. That's what Christianity has for you. They're trying to make you dazed. They're trying to make you confused, so you'll think it's better to be used, when all the while, the real truth in the background is you don't have original sin. You've got the spark of the divine within. You're divine, you're sovereign, you're free. Don't go on bended knee to somebody else's Savior. Take their kosher disclosure and work out your own salvation. It's not that you have to be saved from anything. It's that you optimize your ass. That's what I'm here for, to help you optimize your ass. Licinius missed me. Glad to have me back. Thank you for staying with me. I appreciate it all these many years. And when this number appears, the number 8, anytime you see this from now on, and I'm going to prophesy that you're going to start seeing 8s. And when you see 8, you're going to remember what old Jeff said to you. It's reminding you of you being in cycles. And some of you, it's going to remind you that you dazed and confused. Some of you, it's going to remind you that you got something good going on. Now, the concept of karma, what goes around comes around, is another significant aspect of the number 8. It suggests that your actions have consequences. And seeing the 8 ought to give you a reminder to act with some integrity and to be mindful of your impact on other people. Are you doing things that are going to help you next time around? Are you doing things that are going to wind you up in Valhalla, not with bug-eyed Patel and fake other guy? Oh, check this out, Anthony, my boy. Thank you so much for that donation that you sent today. I'm so glad you showed up. Anthony says he just bought gas, and guess what the last 2 digits were? 88 cents. Anthony, the universe is talking to you, brother. And I know it's been for a while. Me and Anthony go way back. The first digits of his house address are 88. They're talking to you. Your gods, your goddesses, your ancestors. What are you doing right now? What was that number? Burn One Bob's P.O. Box is 88. What was that movie with Angelina Jolie and the one dude? He was curving the bullets. And at the very end of the movie, the last line of the movie is, "And what the fuck have you been doing?" I got to repeat that. Sorry, didn't call earmuffs, but what are you doing? Are you helping your life now? Are you helping get your ass to Valhalla? Where are Wanted? That was the movie. Thank you. What are you doing? I'm challenging you. I'm encouraging you. Now, London authorities, London, England, authorities questioned several American cowboys, one of whom was a dude named Buck Taylor. Not Buck Naked, the porn star, but Buck Taylor. It's a joke. A performer in Buffalo Bill's Wild West show. Taylor was born just a minute from Austin. Emerald Eagle, 777. He's been an archer since he was a child. That means he shoots arrows, yo. Sin means to miss the mark. To me, it means not to recognize a divinity within another heart, and may I suggest within your heart. See, this is what we're talking about. This is the real stuff. But London, Scotland Yard, the Bobbies, they were checking out and seeing if this cowboy from Austin was Jack the Ripper. Is this a trip or what? You guys didn't know this. And since dude back in Austin, the midnight assassin, he was killing all black people, the African American, the black community And then some of them voodoo practitioners, not just the voodoo practitioners, but all the black community was saying, what did Richard Pryor say in that one movie? The man is phenomenal. They said that this man, this white man who was killing the black people, he had magic powers that enabled him to become invisible. And even though the people that were killed had dogs outside their apartments, their homes, not apartments, this was back in Austin in the day, they had dogs in fenced yards. There were dogs next door to all of the places where people were murdered. Not one bark. And as Cynthia and I can attest, we have a 92-pound German Shepherd who's very, very loud. If a squirrel, literally, if a squirrel runs through the backyard, she goes absolutely apeshit. So do you think a dude could walk through our backyard, come in here and kill us and cause noise, and the dogs won't bark? This brings a very interesting supernatural something supernatural in here. My words are fleeing me tonight. This brings a supernatural aspect. They never barked. They never raised any alarm. And of the many speculations about Jack the Ripper, one of the most fascinating theories about Jack's identity is that the Ripper stalked the streets of Victorian Austin, Texas, 3 years before Whitechapel. And people don't understand the marked similarities between Austin, Texas, and London. Austin had been a cow town, not a surprise, under 5,000 residents. Then all of a sudden in 1885, it tripled its size. In addition to new population, they had opera houses, restaurants, hotels, a new state capitol building, 3 successful colleges, as Doc, wow, what is with me? Val Kilmer, Doc Holliday in the movie Tombstone, all very cosmopolitan. If you remember the scene, you're laughing. If you don't, you're just shaking your head and saying, what the hell is this guy talking about? But Austin, very much like London. Of course, a smaller size, smaller scale, but there it is. There it is. The oil business, yeah. Underneath Austin's success, however, something sinister lie. An unknown killer brutally attacking, raping, mutilating sleeping victims in their homes. The term serial killer hadn't been invented yet in the 19th century. It wasn't that the locals of Austin were unfamiliar with the idea of someone committing multiple murders. They had cowboys ride in and shoot it up. But it was impossible for them to believe that a man could animalistically kill for pleasure. Listen to this. That a man could flip a personality switch and carry on without attracting attention. What does that sound like to you? It sounds like MK-Ultra. Jeff, are you saying MK-Ultra back in 1980 and 1885? Yes. I'm considering it. Ooh, I'm your Huckleberry. Was a coffin carrier. I didn't know that. That's brilliant. That's brilliant, Licinius. Brilliant. But this guy was flipping a switch, carrying on without attracting attention, not alarming dogs. I find this very, very interesting. In the fall of 1885, police began to realize that this killing was unlike anything they'd ever encountered. On September 28, W.B. Dunham, a journalist for the Texas Court Reporter, was woken up by a cry from the servants' quarters. His cook, a young black woman, Gracie Vance, lived in the quarters with her boyfriend, Orange Washington. Remember, the little things are the big things. Orange Washington. Now, some of you get it right away. A Clockwork Orange, pictured there, see the knife, A Clockwork Orange is a dystopian crime film by Stanley Kubrick. Yes, yes. The handles on the sides of the coffin were called huckles. That's right. Therefore, huckled bearers were the ones who carried the dead, and Doc Holliday offered to be his huckleberry. I'll shoot you down and carry your coffin. Thank you for that enlightenment. Sassafras Griffin, welcome back, man. Woman, can't remember. I think you're a girl. So glad to see you back. It's been a long, long time, 5 years, and we got Sassafras Griffin back in the house. In addition, they had 2 young servant women staying with them. Figuring that Orange and Gracie were fighting, Dunham went to the back door, yelled at them to be quiet. Several minutes later, he heard a groan. He grabbed his pistol, stepped outside. At the same time, Lucinda stumbled out of the shack, head bloodied, and screamed, "We're all dead. We're all dead." Dunham's next-door neighbor ran into the backyard holding a lantern. The 2 men stepped into the shack, held up the lantern. Patsy lying on her side with blood flowing from her head, barely alive. Gracie nowhere to be found. Orange dead. He was lying face down on the floor between the bed and the wall in a pool of his own blood. A bloody axe was on the bedspread next to him. Police officers responded to Guadalupe Street, just past the University of Texas. Keep that in mind. Just past the University of Texas. This occurred just past the University of Texas. They used lanterns. They followed a bloody trail to a stable. They stumbled over something, and it was the body of Gracie, viciously beaten, her face an unrecognizable mass. Beside her was a brick covered with blood and bits of skin from her face. And the only thing that wasn't bloodied on her was a silver open-face watch wrapped around her wrist. You know, it wrapped the chain around. It was one of those watches that you press and boom, it opens up. Pocket watch, I think they're called. Jack the Ripper was reputed to carry just such a watch. I'm just saying. And these weren't the first butchered victims that Austin had discovered in 1885. 4 other servant women had been drugged from their beds and mutilated. And what was more strange is that there was a witness left alive at each crime scene. Kind of, maybe, sort of, to tell the tale. For the first time since the killing spree had begun, police officers started realizing this ain't an ordinary criminal. A reporter even suggested that one man was carrying out these murders alone, and this is when he was anointed the Midnight Assassin. Molly Smith was found laying on her back, her head nearly split open, with the axe, of course. Multiple stab wounds to her chest and stomach, deep enough to expose her organs. Again, our minds think of the similarities with Jack the Ripper. Police reported there was so much blood that Ms. Smith appeared to be floating in it. A guy named Walter Spencer was beside her, alive but in severe pain. He had 5 deep gashes in his head, and his orbital bone on his eye was fractured. On May 6, 1885, 31-year-old Eliza Shelley, a servant to a doctor, was found on the floor next to the bed. She was covered in a blanket. Officers unwrapped the blanket, found out that her body was wrapped in yet a second blanket or quilt. When they unwrapped her, they found that her brain was seeping out of an axe wound in her right temple. Between her eyes, now this gets into the medical aspect of this, between her eyes was a small hole that looked like it had been made by a screwdriver or a thin iron rod. She'd also been cut up and down her body with a knife, some of the wounds 4 inches deep. That is not easy to do. It takes strength, and it takes something very, very sharp as well. The blade had sunk into her body. It had been sunk straight in, great strength, pulled straight out, severing blood vessels, muscle tissue, and cartilage. This was a strong dude. Only 2 weeks later, Robert Wireman heard a low moan from his backyard on 302 East Linden Street. Keep these addresses kind of in your mind. He ran outside to find his cook, 33-year-old Irene Cross, lying on the lawn, right arm nearly severed in half, long horizontal gash across her forehead. It looked like she was about to be scalped until the scalper was interrupted. On August 30 at 300 Cedar Street, only 1 block from where Eliza Shelley was murdered, another attack ensued. Remember these addresses. We're going to get to something with them. Valentine Weed, found with part of her forehead caved in. Blood flowing from 2 cuts in her left temple. On the floor was a club wrapped in buckskin containing several ounces of lead packed in sand. Ooh, that carries a punch. A second victim on the scene, tragically, was an 11-year-old girl named Mary, about the same age of the Mary in the Bible when the Bible God raped her. By the way, an 11-year-old Mary, is that a kosher disclosure, a callback? It might be. She had a long iron rod inserted into one of her ears, piercing her brain. And then the rod was pulled out and jammed into the other side, which essentially lobotomized her. Obviously, it killed her as well. On December 24, Christmas Eve, oh, holy night. I can't remember the next verse, but it's da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You know, it was Halloween. It was Halloween. It was Christmas night, so it could have been Silent Night, Holy Night. I've actually been in the chapel on Lake Koningsee where that was written. Sassafras, it has been that long. Moses and Susan Hancock sat by the fireplace while their 2 daughters were at a Christmas party. Moses and Susan went to bed around 10. They slept in adjoining rooms. You know, folks did that stuff back then. About midnight, Moses woke up to a loud noise, entered Susan's room, saw her bedding was on the floor, her clothes were scattered, and her window was open. Moses walked to the backyard, found Susan lying in a pool of blood. She had 2 deep wounds on her head. One had cut into her cheekbone. The other perforated her skull and sunk into her brain. And her right ear had also been punctured by a thin rod. Good to see you as well, light of the world. You can comment all you like. Eula Phillips, 17, found almost simultaneously with Moses and his wife, lying on her back with her nightgown pulled up and twisted around her neck. They had used it to drag her across the yard. Eula had been struck directly above the nose by the blade of the axe, splitting her forehead wide open. Across the side of her head was another horizontal wound. Blood pooled around her. Immediately, officers noted something about this crime that was unlike the rest. Across her body were 3 pieces of firewood, 2 across her breast and 1 across her stomach. In addition, her arms were outstretched, almost as if she had been posed ceremoniously. What does that remind you of? A crucifixion. Striking similarities between these murders and the London murders. Further still, it's believed, because the crime suddenly stopped, that the Texas suspect fled town a few years before women started turning up dead in London. So the maths. Victorian attitudes about women and the poor may have caused historians to falsely conclude that Jack the Ripper's victims were sex workers. They might just have been servants, and they might just have been victims of the servant girl annihilator. Maybe that's why they changed his name to the Midnight Assassin, because if you had him killing servant girls in Austin and he's killing servant girls in London, well, then it's just not as fun anymore because you can't trick the people anymore so much. And all of the women were mutilated in a way that suggested that the killer had knowledge of human anatomy and might even have been a physician, just like Jack over in London. And as quickly as the murders began, they stopped. And as the new haphazard police force in Austin tried to put the pieces together, it would have been very easy for the murderer to skip town and even cross the Atlantic Ocean. There's a number of similarities between the Austin crime spree and the London, possibly suggesting there might be a connection. Both sets of murders, the assailant preyed upon victims from the lower class of society. In the Austin case, they were servants. Meanwhile, in the London case, there's a lot of evidence. There's a lot of evidence that they weren't sex workers. They were just maids. And you know, the maid sometimes might want a bigger tip. Might want a bigger tip. Might get a bigger tip. You know what I'm saying. The Austin murders. An 11-year-old girl was sexually assaulted and murdered. I'm telling you, that's a callback to Mary from the Bible. She's about 11 years old when God raped her. The Bible, God raped her. And according to A&E, Arts and Entertainment Television Network, while history believed for a century that all of Jack the Ripper's victims were sexual in nature, new data is seriously calling into question whether Jack's victims were actually sexually assaulted. It might have just been surgically assaulted. Not that it makes a whole lot of difference in the very end, right? But most importantly, Jack the Ripper mutilated his victims after murdering them. The Austin murder evidently did not taunt the police like Jack did. And though the Austin and the London murders of the late 1800s took place in different countries and an ocean apart, there's a gap of a couple years between one crime spree ending and the other beginning. And in that time, it's quite possible the Texas murderer may have skipped town, boarded a ship, and begun plying his trade in another city. And in fact, a man seen around Austin, Texas, who had been looked at as a potential suspect, was later seen, identified, and investigated in London. Wow. I don't know what Silisos is. It's some law enforcement agency. They reported that a sailor had crossed paths with a Malay, I guess a Malaysian cook, possibly using the name Alaska, who claimed that he had been robbed by a woman of bad character, and that if he didn't get justice, he'd murder every woman in Whitechapel and mutilate their bodies. Sure enough, a bit later, the bodies of murdered and mutilated women started showing up in Whitechapel. But what does this have to do with Austin, Texas? Well, according to Austonia, a Malaysian cook possibly using the name Maurice. That's going way back. Steve Miller. Well, I'm a joker. I'm a smoker. Some people call me Maurice. You remember that. He lived in a rooming house. We got to have a little levity, right? He lived in a rooming house near where the majority of the Austin murders were committed. Perhaps he skipped town when he realized the heat was on. The Austin murders mysteriously stopped. Life returned to normal. 2 years later, a string of virtually identical crimes in the Whitechapel, again a Christian reference, of London caused some to wonder if the axe killer vanished from Austin had resurfaced as Jack the Ripper with his M.O., his modus operandi, more sophisticated. There's researchers that believe that they're one and the same, and I might be one of those researchers. So now, Now, Dazed and Confused, MK Austin? Your intrepid researcher, the artist formerly known as the Christian whistleblower, went to work to find the real gospel truth. And I found, believe it or not, a full list of all institutions that participated in the MK-Ultra experiments, and we know they're still going on today. The full list of MK-Ultra places, organizations, companies, and oh yes, universities. Appearing at number 138, and this isn't ranked in any particular order, it's just the list. 138. We just happen to have the University of Texas at Austin. That's the main campus. Austin, Texas, confirmed as a center of MK-Ultra shenanigans. Now, let's get to Dazed, Confused, MK-Ultra. In a film named Dazed and Confused, is there any better description of MK-Ultra? Dazed, Confused. And this movie comes to us from Austin's own Richard Linklater. The movie had no single protagonist, no central conflict, which is pretty confusing in its own right. And rather, it followed an interconnected plot threads among different social groups and characters. This got MK-Ultra written all over it, folks. And the film features a big, large, kind of crazy amount, including who the hell? Reese Witherspoon. I forgot to write her down. Reese Witherspoon had an uncredited role in this movie, Dazed and Confused. But the film features an extraordinary ensemble cast of actors who would later become big stars. Are you starting to connect the dots? Among these, Ben Affleck. Yeah, Ben Affleck was in the movie. Mila Jovovich was in the movie. Reese Witherspoon. 1, 2, 3. Wait. Ben, Mila. I'm having trouble counting. Ben, Mila, Reese Witherspoon, and Matthew McConaughey. Those four were in this movie and became huge stars. To me, this raises the question of Austin. Yeah, I don't know who Parker Posey is, Sassafras, but I remember him being talked about. I don't know who the guy is. This raises the question of Austin as an MK-Ultra farm all the more for me. Ben Affleck, he was born in Berkeley. Come on. Berkeley is the hometown of MK-Ultra, right? Right there in the San Francisco Bay Area. Mila Jovovich is from Cold War Kiev, the Soviet Union, which was all over MK-Ultra. Come on. Matthew McConaughey, all right. Which came from this movie. Matthew McConaughey was born about 100 miles from Austin. And if you know anything about it, I put a few pictures here to prove it. Matthew McConaughey is a huge University of Texas football fan. And, you know, the hook 'em horns, But this is Matthew McConaughey with his Austin, Texas t-shirt. This looks a little bit like Cynthia's grandson, but it's not. Here's Matthew McConaughey. Do you see how they do this to you? These actors were undiscovered talent. And guess where Linklater and the color orange. Oh, thank you, AU66. The Clockwork Orange again. Thank you. I've missed this audience. I mean, we're on some good platforms other places, but this audience, you're just smarter. I'm sorry, but you're just smarter. She did many movies. Parker Posey's a girl. Sorry. She did many movies in the newer Lost in Space series. My favorite is Best in Show. Okay. Parker Posey's a girl. My bad. The Orange, yes. And guess where the film was shot? Austin, Texas. The film later found success on the home video market. It was a failure at the box office and has since become a cult classic. A cult classic. I find that wording interesting. In the film, it's May 28th, 1976, last day of the school year at Lee High School in Austin. The following year's group of seniors prepare for the annual hazing of incoming freshmen. Boys are paddled, girls are covered in mustard, ketchup, flour, raw eggs, forced to propose to senior boys. All of this. Classic MK-Ultra, classic Illuminati humiliation rituals. They just show you it to get you to be dazed and confused, so you're willing to be used by the Judeo-Christian fear and guilt, blood magic, mind control matrix instead of fighting for your right to be divine, sovereign, and free. Wow. This is powerful. We're just about at the end. I'm kind of sad. Shooting began in 1992. What is that? That's a 10, a 19, a 20, a 21, a 3. With the cast lodged at the Crest Hotel on Congress Avenue. The cast lodged at the Crest Hotel on Congress Avenue, which just coincidentally happens to be in the very area of the Midnight Assassin murder spree. And in yet another weird twist of my own life, my mom lives about 40 miles north of Austin. I went down there. I stayed in a fancy condo because I got it for super cheap. And come to find out today that condo, it's a big, it's a big timeshare building. It's what it is. Wyndham timeshare building, beautiful. It's built on top of the location of one of the Midnight Assassin murders. Man, my life has been very interesting, to say the least. There are no coincidences, but there are some coincidences, if you hear what I mean. Being careful. And Quentin Tarantino, can you get any more MK-Ultra than Quentin Tarantino? I don't know. Yeah, if Tarantino liked it, I'll take a hard pass. That's my point. Thank you. Quentin Tarantino included it on his list of the 10 greatest films of all time. Really? That should tell you something. You ever heard of Joe Matheny? Well, Joe Matheny was a serial killer, who made his victims into hamburgers and sold them at his hamburger stand to unsuspecting customers. How about that? How about that? It's kind of like when Jeffrey Dahmer's mother came over for dinner. The neighbors next door were being very noisy. And Jeffrey's mother said to him, "Jeffrey, I don't like your new neighbors." They were eating dinner. So Jeffrey said, "Okay, Mom, just eat the vegetables." Anyway, do you know what Jeffrey Dahmer said to Lorena Bobbitt? "Hey, you gonna eat that?" I'll stop. But one of the main locales of the Dazed and Confused movie just happened to be top-notch hamburgers. MK-Ultra, serial killers, hamburgers, Orange, McConaughey. Yeah. There's a lot to this, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot to this, and that's all I got. That's all I got. What time is it? And how long have I been here? Oh, only 55 minutes? Well, well, well. Hackers 2, close top list film. I'll have to look at that. Let me go to something else here. I want to go to something really quickly that I think is very interesting. We'll throw this in because we got a little bit of time. Crest, there's an allusion to bullhorns. Yep, I like it. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. This comes from Colleen. I want to make sure that I don't disclose any of her information. But let's look at this real quickly. And nope, that's what I want. This was an email she sent me, and we have a little bit of time, so we'll look at this. So I watched Trump meeting with Bibi, B-I-B-I, this morning. And then he went off to meet with Sisi in Egypt. Take the vowels out because we know in Hebrew there ain't no vowels. So if you take the vowels out, you got BB and SS. Colleen says you get BS, bullshit, but you actually get double bullshit. BB, SS. So it's double bullshit. This CK production, speaking of Mr. Kirk, during 9/11, during that time, Israel just happened to be not only bombing only Gaza, but 5 other countries during a 3-day period. 3 days, 3 nights. From that time, in just 3 days, Israel has carried out strikes in Palestine, Lebanon, Syria, Tunisia, Qatar, and Yemen. Wow. That was a busy 3 days. In early to mid-September 2025, Israel launched attacks on at least 6 countries, 6 over a 72-hour period, 9 upside down, 66. All during the Kirk incident. And then the Orange King has to rush back to America so he can attend CK's memorial for the quote-unquote dead CK and give his corpse the Presidential Medal of Freedom with, of course, Erica in attendance. And it just happens to be Columbus Day, which is also Charlie's birthday. Colleen opines that they're going to perform another 9/11. Bibi made a statement that Iran could possibly reach the USA with weapons. I thought we just took care of that. So if we really did obliterate Iran's capability, who would bomb us? Hey, Minder 777. I've been great, baby. It's been too long and we're back. See, people are starting to find us. We still only got 1 thumbs up. What the hell's up with that? Come on. Give me some thumbs ups. Give me some likes. Give me some shares. I got to find out how to get this other show off there. That's not a good one. So if we're bombed, who might do it? Well, maybe the same people that did the Liberty. Maybe the same people that did 9/11. You never know, right? You never know, right? Recent remarks by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu suggested that Tehran is preparing to attack the U.S. has alarmed American citizens. Netanyahu told a well-known American Zionist during an interview published Monday that Iran can blackmail any American city. Iran's developing intercontinental ballistic missiles for 8,000 kilometers range, he told Ben Shapiro. Another 3,000 and they got New York, Washington, Boston, Miami, even Mar-a-Lago. That's a really big danger. But I thought we just knocked out their nuclear capability. I don't get the problem. I don't get the problem. This was a comment from the Tehran Times. That's Iranian paper. How many more times are we going to get fooled? Asked one U.S. citizen on X. He made us go to war with Iraq for weapons of mass destruction that didn't exist. America lost thousands of its soldiers and $2 trillion to make him happy. Whose video was posted 5 years ago? JLL, I noticed that. I'll reach out to him. Oh, Shirley. It appears to Colleen that they might be planning another big show. It works so well, they'd say, play it again, Sam. Of course, this is her perspective of all the performances, connecting the dots, no birth certificates, holograms. Definitely a grand performance. White clothes, fireworks, and with all those people, oh, my device must be behind. Thank you. I'm so glad. With all of those people, 80,000 people in this Charlie Kirk memorial for his death that had been booked 5 months before the event. Maybe Charlie's just a prophet, right? Fireworks at the memorial service. It looks like a freaking Kiss concert. She's wearing white. I mean, come on. Why does she always have her eyes fixed at a 45-degree angle? I don't know. Kind of interesting, though. I'm sorry, but this is not a normal hand gesture. You have to, that takes intent to just make that hand gesture. Now somebody will clip this and say, oh, Jeff's doing devil hands. It takes intent you don't accidentally do that hand gesture. And yet there she is. Fake crying, that makeup's perfect. He's like, you bunch of morons. But yeah, wow. 80,000 people. A memorial service for Charlie Kirk drew 80,000 people. Donald Trump showed up. Tucker Carlson showed up. But his parents didn't show up. His parents did not show up. Really. I find that most interesting. I really do. So do you think that Erica's making the I love you sign to Charlie in heaven? Are they deaf in heaven? Maybe they just can't hear from all the harp music. I don't know. But what do you say? What do you say for what it's worth? I don't know if it'll make a difference, but what do you say we open up the phone lines? Huh? You want to open up the phone lines? See if anybody wants to call in? That might be fun, right? And I even will make it easy for you because I made a little, a little thingamajigger here. That makes it easy for you to call in because it tells you the number in really, really big letters. Really, really big letters. So if you'd like to call in, there's the number, 417-822-5499. Once you get in, press the 0. You'll hear a lady. It's a computer lady, not a particularly good one. welcome to the Christian Whistleblower. Just press 0. Now there's 2 rules. You got to be polite and you have to be interesting. If you're not, you'll be gone. Be polite, be interesting, or be gone. It's just that simple. So we'll leave the lines open for a minute. Now, normally I only have promised to broadcast on YouTube on Sundays for Not Your Normal Sunday. Everybody bombard Wayne. Wayne, come back. Not Your Normal Sunday. And on Wednesday night, we'll also do that. But I'm kind of getting the taste for it again. So when I have a chance, keep watching the channel, keep watching my X, and we'll have some bonus D programs just because I love it. It's so nice to be back on YouTube. I've missed this particular audience, and I know it's hard to find me on other places, and I'm so happy to have found at least a little bit of this audience. We got a lot more to have find us, but we're getting started. We're getting started. So if you want to talk, 417-822-5499, 417-822-5499. Now, if I get, I just happened to get this from the guy that said, look at Dazed and Confused. I looked it up. Boom, it became a deprogram. If these things come up, then we'll have deprograms come up subject to my work schedule. Got a new gig. I like it. Got to keep it. Got to put some more feathers in the nest, right, for the nest egg. So the faithful will trickle in. We will give it time. So I do appreciate y'all very much for showing up tonight. It doesn't look like we're going to have any callers. That's definitely cool. Not worried about that. It happens. You weren't expecting me. And we don't have a bunch of haters over here because crazily enough, it's usually the haters that call. And I don't know. But then it's the haters never call. So it's weird. It's weird. But anyway, folks, yeah. We're ready. We're back. We are back, Emerald Eagle. And we're better than ever. And I think we're getting better and better every day. So before I go, let me remind you, you don't have original sin. That's a lie. You've got the spark of divinity within. In fact, you are divine. You are sovereign. And you are free. Please consider that before you turn your back on your ancestors, before you turn your back on your gods, before you turn your back on your goddesses, and go on bended knee to somebody else's savior. He ain't going to save you from the sin he gave you. Oh, right in the middle of a moving close, we get a call. You're live with Jeff. What's on your mind?
Oh, hold up 1 second. Yeah, I don't know. I was tuning in. You talking about MK-Ultra?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Were you aware that like Reagan's involvement with all this?
I was, yes, but feel free to tell us a little bit about it.
Well, I don't really have too much to say, but it was I was reading this book, Dark Victory, and that's like a huge gold mine for all this stuff. Like they basically show how it was all connected to just the Murder Inc. and whatnot.
Thank you.
Hollywood was formed, all of it.
Yes, Dark Victory. I'm going to grab that book. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that you guys would probably find that interesting.
Fascinating. Do you have any other good stuff to drop on us?
For MK-Ultra, I can't really think of anything right now, but yeah, Dark Victory.
All right, man. Please don't let that be your last phone call. Appreciate you hitting us up.
Yeah, man. Keep it up. Keep up the good work. Yeah, you too, man.
That's because I muted myself. I was muting myself so it didn't feed back. But thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. I'm back. Yeah, I wanted to make sure you could hear the caller without the back and forth. So I turned off the Ring Central so I didn't get interrupted in my acceptance speech again. Yeah, we're not muted anymore, Bob. We're cool. Thank you. So, folks. Yeah, that Billy Idol one was badass. That was what was that? He goes like the Terminator. What was that called? Shit. I'm tired today, man. I'm tired. I had a kind of a hardish day at work. What was that song called from Billy Idol? But it was good. But we can't use it. So, you are part of the last generation of real humans, divine, sovereign, free. We're gonna win. The last battalion will be ours. If you give it a smell, you can smell what we got cooking. Even though I hate that guy. Victory. I love the smell of victory in the morning. And it's time for a little retribution. We'll see you at least on Wednesday, but maybe before.
Retribution.